Dwayne Dog Chapman's life reads like a wild action flick, brimming with danger, heartbreak, and scandal from his wild days in a motorcycle gang to his rise as a reality TV legend. His journey defies the ordinary, and behind those signature sunglasses and bounty hunter glory lies a tale full of shocking twists and hidden secrets. No one could have foreseen the path he took, what really became of Dog the Bounty Hunter. Dwayne Dog Chapman, the renowned bounty hunter, endured a harsh childhood that forged his character. Born in Denver, Colorado, he grew up in a humble working-class family where life was far from easy. His father, once a Navy welder turned bail bondsman, was notoriously strict and often brutal, while his mother, a devoted Sunday school teacher, worked hard to instill solid values in her children. Reflecting on his past, Dwayne once called his early years pretty normal, only to later recognize the deep struggles he faced. His father's explosive temper and frequent beatings, including a paddle that left him bruised and hurting. His father dubbed him Flash for his boxing prowess and pushed him into fighting at a tender age, convinced it would harden him. Yet, all Dwayne craved was his father's affection and acceptance. At just 16, he broke away from home and joined a motorcycle gang known as the Devil's Disciples, a defiant act that starkly contrasted with the strict, church-going life his preacher mother tried to enforce. Though he never regarded himself as a fire and brimstone preacher, he fiercely and unwaveringly defended his deep-rooted faith. He even once clashed violently with a man who dared to insult Jesus. That intense encounter earned him the unforgettable moniker Dog, with one biker boldly claiming it was simply God spelled backward. From then on, he proudly accepted the nickname and all the bold identity that accompanied it. In the 1970s, Dog the Bounty Hunter met his first wife, L.A. Fonda, also known as Sue Darnell, during his time in Denver. Their passionate bond grew rapidly, and after a few years of heartfelt romance, they married in 1972. Chapman's escalating legal issues put immense pressure on their fragile bond, and everything began to spiral disastrously downward. In 1976, Chapman became entangled in a disastrous substance deal that went horribly awry. While waiting in the car, one of his friends got into a heated argument with a dealer named Oliver and, tragically, ended up shooting him, even though he was outside when the shocking crime unfolded. Texas law held Chapman fully accountable since he failed to report the incident, and he was charged with murder, receiving a 5-year prison sentence, though he ultimately served only 18 months. Upon his early release, Chapman was confronted with an overwhelming mountain of child support debt and was desperate to earn money fast. He chose the risky path of bounty hunting, a career that, surprisingly, even the presiding judge had enthusiastically endorsed. Chapman began an affair with Beth Smith. Beth Smith is widely recognized as the bounty hunter's wife and partner. Yet their connection began long before they became famous. When they first met in 1988, Beth was on the run from the law, a fact that added to their wild story. Beth later revealed that her troubles began when she was accused of stealing 2 lemons from a grocery store. Additionally, she was carrying an unlicensed weapon and faced a mountain of unpaid traffic tickets, leaving her desperate to escape jail. She reached out to Chapman, a bail bondsman then, and he sent the paperwork by bus, leaving her locked up for 12 hours. When Beth arrived at his office, she acted nonchalantly, but Chapman saw right through her facade. Beth later confessed that, in that moment, she was utterly smitten and determined to make him hers. The chemistry between Chapman and Beth sparked a connection that weathered challenges. Despite his multiple marriages, fleeting romances, and battles with addiction, Chapman and Beth stayed closely bonded. By 1997, he, his children, and Beth finally moved in together. They later tied the knot and launched a booming bail bonds business called Doc. Their breakthrough arrived in 2003 when they helped capture Andrew Luster, the notorious heir to the Max Factor fortune, who was wanted for sexually assaulting multiple women. Dog tracked him down all the way in Mexico, but because bounty hunting is illegal there, he was arrested at the border and had to post bail to free himself and his crew. The irony was that Dog himself, despite his fierce reputation, couldn't legally arrest anyone in the U.S. because of his criminal record. In fact, a representative from the Florida Bail Bondsman Association noted that his actions might even be seen as kidnapping, despite the capture launching him into the public spotlight. In 2004, Dog the Bounty Hunter premiered on A&E, captivating viewers for nearly a decade with raw, electrifying action. Audiences watched in awe as Dog pursued dangerous fugitives and tackled high-stakes situations. His signature look, a wild, untamed mullet, ever-present sunglasses, and a bold, larger-than-life persona, was meticulously crafted to strike fear into the hearts of his targets. Beth repeatedly emphasized that the show was about more than chasing criminals. It was fundamentally about helping people and offering them genuine second chances. The program became a huge hit, yet Dog's fierce personality, which catapulted him to stardom, also stirred up plenty of controversy. In 2007, Dog faced major backlash when a private phone call with his son was leaked. During that call, Dog shockingly used a racial slur and worried it might ruin his already fragile career if it became public. Favorite for 8 unforgettable years, yet in a shocking twist, Andy canceled the series despite its ongoing popularity, leaving fans utterly stunned and heartbroken. After parting ways with Andy, the Chapman family launched a new chapter with Dog and Beth on the Hunt on CMT, and was a fresh start. Though not without obstacles, the bail bonds industry, a passion they held dear, faced serious challenges, forcing them to pause filming while fighting to protect the field they loved. After a brief break from television, Dog and Beth returned, but this time the spotlight shone on something far more personal and heart-wrenching. In 2017, Beth received the heartbreaking diagnosis of throat cancer. She tearfully informed her fans in an emotional letter, promising to fight with all her strength after surgery. There was a glimmer of hope when a tumor was removed, and by November, Beth was declared cancer-free. It felt like a fresh start. But sadly, their joy was short-lived. Just a year later, Beth had to face another surgery along with devastating news. The cancer had returned and spread to her lungs, a grim twist that could have shattered anyone. Yet, Beth stood firm and refused to give up. By late 2018, she described her struggle as just another challenge in life and vowed to keep moving forward. On June 26, 2019, Beth passed away, leaving everyone in deep sorrow. Dwayne announced the news, saying she had gone to heaven and was forever loved. Dog wasn't just battling grief, he was drowning in financial troubles. He admitted to the Toronto Star that Beth's medical bills and the responsibility of supporting his large family had wiped out his finances. Things got so bad that he was on the verge of losing his home, struggling to keep up with the mortgage. A few months after her passing, Dog started having chest pains and trouble breathing. At first, he brushed it off, convinced it was just heartbreak. His heart literally felt broken. But when the symptoms wouldn't go away, he finally sought medical help. Like many men his age, Dog had a habit of ignoring health issues. Thankfully, Dr. Oz stepped in, urging him to undergo crucial tests, which were even documented on The Dr. Oz Show, to highlight the importance of taking these warnings seriously. Dog had been a heavy smoker since he was 12, sometimes going through 3.5 packs a day for over 40 years. Despite this, doctors found his heart to be surprisingly strong. But there was a serious issue, a pulmonary embolism. A dangerous blood clot had formed in his lungs, blocking blood flow and putting his life at risk. Dr. Oz warned him just how deadly this condition could be. That was the wake-up call Dog needed. He got serious about quitting smoking. With Dr. Oz's support, he started making real changes. After overcoming these battles, Dog landed a new show, Dog's Most Wanted, on WGN. But by 2022, his financial troubles weren't over. He owed $1.6 million in taxes across Colorado and Hawaii, forcing him to make tough decisions. He ended up selling the Colorado mansion he and Beth had purchased 13 years earlier for $750,000. With the housing market booming, he sold it for nearly double, bringing in about $159 million to chip away at his debts. Dog the Bounty Hunter may not be on TV as much these days, but he still finds ways to make headlines. Recently, he sparked outrage during a public appearance with a televangelist when he launched into a rant against transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney. His comments, where he misgendered Mulvaney and made threatening remarks, ignited backlash, igniting debates over his outspoken nature. Despite the controversy, Dog has embraced a new chapter as a Christian influencer. He even wrote a book, 9 Lives and Counting, where he shares his journey to faith. He believes his calling has shifted from bounty hunting to saving souls, seeing his mission now as a spiritual one. But even Dog admits, his wild side isn't gone.